So we designed this tool for the Wellbeing Economy Design Sprint. We thought it was really important to frame the task through the criterion that we were given for a well-being economy, which is a community where a little girl would be able to ride her bike safely and joyfully to a good public school. We were also really inspired by the ideals of the sharing economy that we encountered in the pre-readings and videos assigned for this design sprint. And then that got us to start thinking about how we can leverage existing institutions of sharing. And we realized that one of our few institutions that already embodies the sharing ethos and is in possession of civic cachet is the public library. According to a 2016 study by the Pew Research Institute, 78% of adults say that public libraries help them find information that is trustworthy and reliable. And 87% of millennials say the same, so this trust may even increase with millennials and with our generation. And this holds true despite the fact that trust in many institutions, including the press, government, and organized religion, has been declining for decades. We read an analysis by journalist David Beard, who says that libraries' mission of service, which comes without any commercial or political motive, is the main source of this enduring trust. He says that early encounters with the libraries in childhood can promote trust over the course of a lifetime, and that libraries' continuous engagement in their local communities is also really important. So rather than reinventing the wheel here, what we wanted to do was develop a guidebook for the library of the present to help become the well-being library of the future.
So the library is actually meant to maximize public well-being. The first public libraries in America were created around serving the public interest at a time when education and literacy were reserved for upper classes. They filled these gaps by providing what the average person needed to excel in life, which in the late 18th century was access to information and learning. But today, we live in the internet age. The access to information that a public library offers is not the dominant limiting factor to a good life anymore. What we lack today is community, or social capital. People are lonelier and more alienated than ever. So if the purpose of our libraries is to fill in the gaps of an imperfect society, then they should start by addressing social capital. How can a library step in for someone who needs to borrow a power tool but doesn't know anyone with a set to spare? How can a library connect someone writing a resume for the first time with someone else who can help them, or maybe even an expert? What about a girl with a broken bicycle who doesn't have a screwdriver or a bike pump or a friend who knows about bike mechanics? Public libraries can address these issues by employing the same structure that they already use and the same ethos that they already exemplify. If libraries can rent out books, what else can they rent out? Libraries are widespread modern embodiments of the commons, the concept of shared resources based on the needs and interests of the public that relies on trust in the members of community while also providing a gathering place where people can trade social capital and knowledge.
So what we were trying to think about next was how to practically use this well-being library. And what we came up with was a website and app that, that users could use to check in and check out equipment and report issues, give suggestions, and maybe even apply for jobs at the library. And thus we're democratizing the process of using this well-being library. And in our guidebook, not only will we have ideas for this, but also tools for librarians to get in contact with the other institutions in the community, whether that be schools, religious institutions, YMCA type institutions, things that are important. And hopefully, even if these neighborhoods don't use our library explicitly, they can take the base ethos that Margot and Taylor were talking about and input it into their communities, challenging the ways in which we see spaces and tools as privatized, and understanding that everyone has a need, everyone has skills to provide, and seeing how this well-being library can operate to provide that groundwork into a community.